After exactly 24 hours after the demonstration, that was actually to make sure that the Electoral Commission of the Republic of Ghana gets to accede to the request of the opposition NDC demanding a forensic audit of our electoral roll. The governing NPP, through its national organizer, is insisting any such move by the EC will be fiercely resisted at the highest court of the Republic of Ghana. And still talking about courts, we are getting the latest for you on what's happening with the planned demonstration on illegal mining here in the Republic of Ghana. The group, Democracy Hub, Fix the Country, as you have known them to be all these years, intended to embark on the demonstration. This has hit a snag as the police gone to court, the High Court to be specific, to get a form of an injunction restraining them from carrying out this demonstration on the said date with barely 5 days to that particular demonstration. Will they heed the call or disrespect the authority of the state? In studio with me tonight on this important conversation, and more importantly, we have had a meeting, that is the government of the Republic of Ghana, through its interministerial committee, with some stakeholders when it comes to illegal mining. The government is sitting in Accra and holding massive meetings with the TUC and co, whilst the destruction of our forests is still happening in the bushes of this country. But is this strategy the best way to fix the problem? Is government taking illegal mining serious? A man who also pretended to have fought illegal mining in Ghana is my guest. He was Minister for Lands up along the line. The Honorable Idris Afuseni, you are welcome.
Thank you.
I hope you are doing well today.
Well, I'm very fine, but I never pretended that.
No, I know you object to it, but I'm stating a fact because if you fix the problem, we'll not be having this conversation today.
No. Problems that don't get fixed in a day. Problems are fixed, by putting in place processes, procedures, and they must be continuous. So if there's a breakdown, if there's a break in what you were doing or what the previous government was doing, obviously the problem will come back.
Now, I will put it to you that the politicians, including government officials like you, put electoral fortunes ahead of the people's health in this particular case. If you could quote the TUC, they say people's lives ahead of profits. And you, like many others in that ministry, have had a half-hearted approach to the fight against illegal mining. That is where we are today.
So when we were fighting illegal mining, we were not preparing for elections, were we? That was immediately after the elections. 6 months after winning the presidential elections, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama constituted the Interministerial Task Force on Illegal Mining.
Yeah, the first time I heard of Interministerial Task Force on this matter.
Yeah, so
this is the third time they are setting up one.
And that was following up on the promise made by the NDC in the NDC manifesto of 2012. The NDC, if it was given the mandate, would sanitize the small-scale mining sector. True to his words and the words of the NDC in the manifesto, a task force was set up with me as chairman. And we took steps.
But the evidence today suggests that task forces do not necessarily solve problems. If it did, and interministerial committees have not been the solution to our illegal mining problem, we know that for sure, right?
Task forces are ad hoc committees.
Like we have one now.
But they must put in place institutional mechanisms to make to sustain the fight.
Which is what's being deployed across the regions according to the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable?
No.
We'll be exploring all of these options on the table. We will be talking about whether or not it is deliberate to let this happen, or you politicians have now become afraid of the people who are destroying our water bodies and our river bodies and basically our lands and our forests in ways that they are holding you to ransom. And because Nkrumah says, seek ye first the political kingdom, people are all basically playing with perhaps what will destroy our lives as a people.
But there's a solution to that. There's a solution to that in Shakespeare's Macbeth.
Macbeth?
Yes. Good people.
When things are happening today, you are seeking in prison.
Good people are always more than bad people.
Yes, that's
only when the good people refuse to act that the bad people take over.
In case, the highest estimate I've heard is that there are about 3 million or so illegal miners in this country.
But we have 31 million Ghanaians.
Yes, so we are more than them.
Exactly.
So we cannot be. But the only difficulty is that you people are the ones telling us that you lose election in areas.
Well, what I'm saying is that
people
to say that you will lose elections when only about a tenth of the people of Ghana are, and I consider that significant.
And even so, 17 million of us are on the voters register.
The 17 million of us.
We do not know out of that number which ones are even
illegal mining. And when you have illegal mining being carried out largely by non-Ghanaians, okay, so to come to the conclusion that because of political gain, that we are unable to fight this, is to miss the point.
I will come to you, and these were introductory remarks, because there's also a demonstration that happened yesterday. The NDC was on the streets demanding the form of a forensic audit. I've heard response from the governing NPP today. Its national organizer, Henry Nana Boakye, joins me now to tell us why he's insisting that no matter what happens in this conversation, the EC cannot grant this forensic audit. Nana Boakye, you're welcome to our front. If you can hear me, Henry Nana Boakye, you're welcome to our front. Well, I appear to be having a difficulty to that line. We should be able to raise him and have that conversation. But that is where we should start from, right?
Yes, yes.
You called it Enough is Enough demo. This is in demand of a forensic audit.
Yes.
Honorable.
Enough.
Why is a forensic audit, barely 3 months to an election, an essential ingredient when you and the NPP have been told that elections are won at the polling station?
Well, it's essential because you will never know how many people have been illegally transferred. You will never know how many people who can vote in the 2024 elections have had their names removed from the register. You cannot contemplate the kind of confusion that will bedevil our elections if we don't do these corrections. Because we've had evidence of electoral officers or workers of the Electoral Commission transferring people to other polling stations or other regions without their consent or authorization. And so you want to see what is the state of affairs. I mean, and you know, an election register, a credible election register, is sine qua non for a credible elections. And so if the electoral roll or register has problems, 3 months is enough for us to sit down and clean the register. Everybody should be interested in the clean register for the 2024 elections.
Article 45 of the Constitution says the Electoral Commission shall have the following functions. A, to compile the register of votes and revise it at such periods as may be determined by law. And 2, to demarcate the electoral boundaries for both national and local government elections. C, to conduct and supervise all public elections and referenda. And of course, this has other elements to it. The guarantee of a fair and realistic remuneration for production and productivity in other forms is also being introduced here. So the Electoral Commission has specific rules, which would include the compilation of a register of voters and to revise same at periods which may be determined by law.
Yes.
What is the basis of this call for the forensic audit?
The basis is in the preamble of the Constitution.
Preamble?
Yes.
We the people?
We the people, the universal creed associated by all democratic countries.
Okay.
We the people have set unto ourselves these institutions to regulate our affairs. We the people. So the Electoral Commission must subscribe to, be subservient to the universal creed of we the people of this country.
Really?
We the people.
But how do you...
It's not the Electoral Commission.
How do you aggregate that level of interest?
So
there are people who are not on the streets.
I'll tell you how to...
Let me bring one of those people into this conversation. Henry Nana Boakye is national organizer of the NPP. Nana B, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly now. Now, I have heard, it has been intimated that you're on record to have said you will drag the Electoral Commission to the highest court of the land if they accede to the request for a forensic audit of the electoral register or the electoral roll. Exactly what is the basis for this claim?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. You just made reference to Article 45 and then also Section 2 of the Electoral Commissions Act. And these two legislation exclusively confers onto the Electoral Commission the mandate to compile the register and supervise all acts And the same as what it has to be. Also, in it is enshrined dependence of the man. So when I hear calling a certain independent body to come and sit on an independent lecture to audit very document which is prepared for the electoral, I'm amazed by suggestion. And the electoral, which is, for me, for the a particular part, not just with on the either. Because we have established irregularity in one.
I'm afraid there is some difficulty hearing you. Forgive me. Perhaps if you could reposition yourself slightly, I'll get better reception from you. It's terrible, the feedback I'm getting from you. Well, I seem to have lost the NPP's national organizer once again in this conversation. Now, it's the same reference is made to Article 45, which rests the mandate to compile an electoral register with the Electoral Commission as a function. Now, you are saying that we as a collective, in a preamble, not specifically related to election anyway, is the basis for which the NDC is demanding that there is a forensic audit being done, as in the constitutional basis for it that is being demanded. Is that not too far-fetched?
It's not far-fetched. So let me take you on a historical journey for you to understand how the collective sense of responsibility, transparency, and accountability by the people of Ghana have led to electoral reforms in this country. In 1992, when we started the elections, the democratic experiment, we were using opaque ballot boxes. You recall?
Okay. Let me try for the last time, because he is actually on the road, to get clarity from Henry Nana Boakye. And I think it is better now, I understand. Nanabi, if you can hear me.
Raymond, is you okay now?
This is perfect. So you are making the point that Article 45 rests the power of compilation of the register with the Electoral Commission. That is not in dispute, but what prevents others from making suggestions on how to improve the register?
The same constitution also confers onto the Electoral Commission that element of independence. And I am surprised when anybody would a new register in 2020. We have had a limited registration in 2023. Recently, we had another limited registration. We've gone through transfer of vote. And then we have also, there's another process which is the exhibition. In fact, we have even had a mop-up exercise. And the Electoral Commission says that they are in the process of putting together the final register. And during the exhibition period, an incident occurred in Kusiga. And it was through the same mechanism, because inherent in this process is the exhibition. So the Electoral Commission says that, okay, the NDC, you say you have an issue. Initially, they mentioned the figure of 240,000 illegal transfers. And Raymond, that is alarming. If we have 240,000 illegal transfers, you will hear the sound from every corner, every part. You will not hear the sound from the NDC. And then all of a sudden, the NDC is saying that because of that, they are not even requesting, they are not even proposing. They are insisting that we should have a certain independent body that should come and sit on the head of the Electoral Commission to conduct a forensic audit into the voter, the very document, the basic document for our electionary process. And that is to say, this is a massive, this is fundamental interference
into the work of the Electoral Commission. Very, very, very fundamental interference. That you want to have an independent body to come and audit an independent Electoral Commission.
Mm-hmm.
This Electoral Commission is well established by the 1992 Constitution. We've had 1992 elections, 96, the year 2000, 2004, we've had 2008, 2012, 2016, 2020. This will be the 9th election. Look, the Electoral Commission we have in Ghana, all political parties will have their challenges with the Electoral Commission, but it is one of the most formidable institutions, especially elections-related institutions in Africa, and for that matter, on the globe. The Electoral Commission of Ghana has received a lot of recommendations from so many places. So why is it that you have a problem, and then you have also made a claim that you suspect some 240,000 illegal transfers? Electoral Commission says, kindly present to us the evidence. And you say no. I'm surprised by this conduct. And my senior uncle there, he is aware. He's a senior lawyer. We studied from him. He who alleges must prove. You are alleging that there is a massive, a colossal illegal transfer, allegedly, 240,000. Bring evidence. You say no, you will not bring any evidence. Raymond, don't forget, in 2016, when the New Patriotic Party and some allied entities were demanding for a new voters register, we were put before a committee set by the Electoral Commission, and then we presented our case. I recall that it was our former national chairman, former campaign manager, Chairman McMahon, who did the presentation, and then we were able to show that we've had some people whose names are in the Togolese voter register, Ivorian voter register, Burkinabe voter register. So, you know what? We need to have a new voter register. The recommendation from the committee was that, no, we don't need to have any a wholesale new register, but rather we should use the mechanism we have in place, which is the exhibition process. And that in itself is an audit. So look, any attempt, Raymond, any attempt to introduce any or a certain private entity into this particular, into the operations of the Electoral Commission will be fiercely resisted. Not just physically, but in the law court.
And your argument is that the EC does not understand its remit, so the NPP is in a better position to actually tell the EC that your remit is being impeded by the demand, so we will go to court on your behalf.
Yes, that is why we have the law court. That is why democracy is so beautiful, that you can test the law of the land any day, any time in the law court. Because we believe that the Electoral Commission is exclusively independent. And we do not allow any entity, any institution to come and interfere with the independence of the Electoral Commission. So you have gathered evidence to the effect that we have had some illegal transfers amounting to 240,000. What stops you from putting it before the people of Ghana? And I think that...
So who is the source of this 240,000? Who is the source of it?
Sorry?
Who is the one you're referencing when you talk about this 240,000?
NDC. NDC says they have some 240,000 illegal transfers.
I wanted to be sure which specific person you are referencing.
Raymond, come again, I didn't hear you.
I wanted to know the individual that made this claim.
Yes. So it's the NDC. NDC made a claim.
When was this claim made?
Oh, Raymond, I've heard it. I mean, I've heard, you know, on this particular matter, I've been speaking on radio, I've been engaging them. It is something they've been throwing about.
Because what I've heard is that they have seen in certain areas there 270 or so thousand. I've not heard it. That's why I wanted to be sure. Before
240,000. That is what they mentioned.
240,000.
Yes, 40,000. That is the claim they made.
All right. Now, Nanabi, there is this understanding. The 38 or so that were found to have been transferred, I want to use the word erroneously, advisedly, in Pusiga, for example, which led to the suspension of the EC director for that particular district. You are a party to this election. Are you not worried about such an incident?
I am worried. That is why I'm also happy that the Electoral Commission has taken such an action. I am worried. And you see, the Electoral Commission, over the years...
But the EC did not so moto find out these people. Somebody had to make...
In fact, it was through the exhibition exercise that discovered this illegal transfers, allegedly. So that is why I'm saying that inherent in our process is this exhibition exercise that seeks to bring out all of these issues. So we in the New Patriotic Party, we generated a short code, which was free of charge. I'm told that the NDC also generated a short code for its members, free of charge. Check the status of your registration. It was free of charge. The Electoral Commission also generated same at a fee. There were some people who called me complaining about errors in the spelling of their names, in writing their names. Some also called me regarding their polling station that has been changed. And then I gave them the education. That is why we have the correction form. You correct it. That in itself is an audit. So it is not as if those 38 were discovered outside the processes related to the Electoral Commission's activities. No. These 38 were discovered through the exhibition process. So if you are saying that you have evidence, then bring the evidence. But you cannot base your request on the 38 that were discovered in Pusiga. Because it is not widespread. Look, we are talking about millions of registered voters. So if we have had 38, it is not enough grounds for you to say that there should be a certain forensic audit conducted by a certain independent entity. Don't forget that in 2016, when we spoke of dead names on the register, when we spoke of minors on the register, the Electoral Commission said that, look, the exhibition process is a full-blown auditing process which must be embraced by all political parties, so that we have your agents there and then we'll clean the register.
Now, I get your point. I want to hear some quick feedback for you on this point you have made from the Honorable Yunus Abseni. It says it is much ado about nothing. If you have evidence as a party, present it. It will amount to interference with the work of the EC for you to demand an independent body go into the register and purport to audit it.
So, the Honorable would have known that when the Director of Elections of the NDC, Dr. Omane Buama, met with the Electoral Commission, we presented a compendium of evidence.
Not just the Pusiga one?
Not just the Pusiga one, to the Electoral Commission. Indeed, it is because of our suspicion of the way the Electoral Commission will treat the evidence that was submitted to them. You recall we had asked for a public broadcast. To make the discussion of the irregularities on the register public. But the Electoral Commission refused it. So it is not only 38. 2, Nanabuachi, voter exhibition as an auditing process is not mutually exclusive to requesting a forensic audit. It's not. When the voter register is exhibited and irregularities are found, you can, based on the exhibition, ask for a forensic audit. It's not mutually exclusive.
Okay.
Okay, you can do both at the same time. 3, NDC has not said anywhere that the persons who have been deleted, the names of persons who have been deleted from the register, the names of persons who have been illegally transferred from the register, the names of persons that that are mysteriously absent from the register are NDC sympathizers. NDC has not said that anywhere. NDC is saying that because of that level of irregularities, that register cannot be credible.
What he's saying is that what you have presented is quite negligible, considering the fact that you have almost 70 million Ghanaians on that voter roll.
I think that I've heard him.
Okay.
And I think that he's just zeroing in on the 38. And I'm telling him that we submitted evidence far in excess.
Was it 240,000?
I said far in excess. Why didn't the Electoral Commission allow us, the public, to have a view of what we were submitting? And you know that the exhibition process that we just ended is the last stage of the exhibition.
Yes, when it comes to exhibition.
Yes.
Okay.
So what?
But the EC says the compilation of a final
what I'm saying is that
it's still at its early stages.
What I'm saying is that, so what mechanism is now available to the NDC if the final register is compiled and made available to the party and the party sees the irregularities in the register? What remedial mechanisms are available?
I see lawful mechanisms are
yes,
available.
are available.
I have no idea, but they say you should come
that's
and sit with them.
That's why we are saying
they say you should come and sit with them
that's
and
why we are saying
engage
that,
on it.
That's why we are saying that let's audit the process. Now, we're not saying that...
What is the NDC really asking of? An audit of the electoral roll or the system that produces the electoral roll or the entire process and anybody who has had access to that IT system? What really is the NDC asking for?
Exactly what you have said. We're asking for all that.
All in one?
All in one.
And how long does it take to do that?
Any system expert should be able to tell you whether the Electoral Commission system is vulnerable or not. Vulnerable to manipulation. Should be able to tell you. And if 3 months... No, listen.
On a fishing expedition?
No. We're not. You should be worried that an electoral officer sitting in Pusiga can manipulate the system to transfer 38 people without their consent. Because there ought to be a track, a tray, to show that these people have applied for their names to be transferred. They have been transferred. And that trail exists at the place where the transfer occurs. And there ought to be another trail that this list is the transferred list so that we can track it. That's how transparency is achieved in electoral processes. How can one electoral officer sitting somewhere in the Upper East region enter the system and transfer same without these motions? And so what we are saying is that we have serious difficulties with the way the Electoral Commission is managing our register and managing the system for the elections. And because of that, we believe that if that system, the whole setup of the Electoral Commission, its IT department is audited to see whether or not on an election day can anybody transpose the results. Will there be an interference in the transmission of the results? Is the system so foolproof that we can have confidence in the Electoral Commission's ability to ward off interferences in terms of transmission of results? We want that assurance. We want that assurance not because we are NDC, but because we are Ghanaians. We know the cost of disturbances, electoral disturbances. We don't want same.
Now, final words from you, Henry Nanabuache. I mean, this is the explanation they are giving to it. It will sound reasonable to everybody that we all want an electoral roll that is credible enough for the election, right?
But Raymond, what makes this register not credible? I still don't get it. Look, we are dealing with close to 20 million registrants on the register. Clearly, some of these features can happen. And look, if you go to the Electoral Commission, they will tell you that this is not the first time we've had an official allegedly conducting himself or herself in a way which is contrary to the operations of the Commission. This is not the first time. In fact, some people have been even put before the law courts before. That is why we have mechanisms, we have processes. And Raymond, the fact that it was even the internal process that revealed such alleged illegal transfer should rather give us that comfort and that hope in the Electoral Commission. That yes, indeed, the Electoral Commission's processes are working. And the Electoral Commission did not hide anything. The exhibition, in fact, anybody generated now. Raymond, think of this. Indeed, if we even have 2,000 people displaced, illegally displaced from their original voting picture. You think that we're hearing these noises from the NDC? We would rather be hearing from the people themselves. Trust me. And more so when they have had this nationwide demonstration.
Well, I guess we can leave it off here. Many thanks to you for joining us tonight on UPfront. And before you go, what do you think about a call by the eminent, I seem to have lost Henry Nanabuache there. And I was bringing in the point that some eminent leaders in this country, including clerics and other distinguished men, distinguished pastors, have called on the EC to engage further and the NDC to find solutions to this problem and make sure that the right thing is done without jeopardizing the peace of this country. In fact, in the right direction?
We are actually embarking on the way to find solutions to the alarming irregularities in the register and the near default position of the MPP and the Electoral Commission on their stance on the register. I mean, clearly, it is totally unacceptable to treat with contempt great issues of mistrust that the party has shown towards the Electoral Commission and the way it has handled the register and our complaints. And so we think that what the clerics are saying, what the good people of this country are saying is reasonable to the extent that they're saying that we should invest in the peace of the country. And to invest in the peace of the country, we need to ensure that the processes leading to the elections are not only open and transparent, but the 2024 elections ought to be credible. And for the 2024 elections to be credible, we need a credible register. And so clearly, I mean, those who are prepared to listen, and in any case, what at all will it cost us if we sat down to look at the register and see whether or indeed there are irregularities in the register? What at all will it cost us?
The final question I have on this is from the Eminent Persons Ghana, made up of these religious leaders. Now, the EPG is calling on the NDC and all political parties to exercise restraint as the issues of concern as articulated by the NDC to the EC and allow due process to be followed. We encourage the leaders of the NDC to be open to dialogue and avoid any actions that may seem to be inciting their large followers. We acknowledge their constitutional right to demonstration and will urge them to be peaceful and respect the laws of the land.
Well, we are open to dialogue.
Open to dialogue. But the EC says, come.
No,
don't be on the
we went there. We went there. We went there.
I say, come with your evidence.
We went there and gave them the evidence. Oh, you didn't see it?
They are insisting that you've not given them evidence that is new.
So that's why we are saying that so somebody else should assess our evidence. You see, that's why we are saying that. We went there. When they said we should come, we went there and presented our evidence. They are saying that that evidence is not satisfactory. And we say, oh, if we say so, then we need an independent assessor to see our evidence. How is this difficult?
Well, we will get back to conversations about your role as former lands minister and the destruction of our water bodies and our forests in the People's Republic of Ghana, which is also another very important and topical issue in Ghana. Let me start from the grouping called Fix the Country or Democracy Hub. They intended demonstrating pretty soon, about I think it's barely a week to the time, and this demonstration is being stopped or injuncted one way or the other by the Ghana Police Service with a High Court decision or a High Court form of an order that's preventing them from doing so. Nadeswa is the convener of the Fix the Country. Nadeswa, you're welcome to our front.
Thank you.
How do you take the message? How do you take the statement from the police? How do you take this court directive, if I may so describe it?
Well, we take it with all due respect, but we are also citizens of Ghana.
Yeah.
And we have every right to get up and say something is not right when it is not right. We can do that. Now, we're not going out to demonstrate and be violent. We're going to picket. And we're going to picket very quietly and
So I suspect I have lost you, but are you still on with us now? Brilliant. So I still have you. The understanding many people had was that you've reached some agreement with the police. So is this a surprise to you that the police appear to have gone to court to get this particular decision or ruling from the court? Because many in this republic thought you had agreed on perhaps where you taking the demonstration, and you had served notice a long time ago. So it made sense that you were expectant of going on this demonstration, right? Now, if you can hear me. Well, I seem not to be getting through, so let me come in studio and actually get to hear from you on, first and foremost, this latest development on a demonstration which is supposed to be about the destruction of our water bodies and also forests in the Republic of Ghana, in the name of Galamsey that we've all been complaining about. Honorable Eunice Obseni, if this issue had been fixed, and okay, let's talk about, you're a lawyer, so let's talk about this directive, this ruling. Is it fair to the demonstrators?
I don't think it is. I think that increasingly the police are using police powers to stop the individual from exercising his right to civil demonstration, civil disobedience. And also, and civil disobedience is very important in a democracy in the sense that it draws attention to what the citizens feel, disgusted about. So, because of the law that was promulgated, the police are using that law to frustrate the enjoyment of that constitutional right to civil disobedience.
But this is not even an injunction, it's an order of prohibition.
Yes.
What's the point?
It's also an injunction.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a prohibitory injunction. Okay, don't do this. You can't do this. And so it's also an injunction. You have mandatory and prohibitory. So do this and don't do this. So don't do this. So, yeah. So that's what they are telling. Don't hold the picket at the. They said they were going to hold it at just opposite
the Revolutionary Square, behind Liberation Road.
Yes.
Opposite Jubilee House. Yes.
And they said no. The court said no because the police had gone there to say that that's a security zone.
Okay. Now, let me now bring in Nadeswa once again to this conversation. Were you expecting the police to take on this? During your conversation with the police, did they make it clear to you that this is an issue they will take up? Did they flag the issue of where you are going to demonstrate?
Yes, they did.
So I'm not sure I heard you right. You said, yes, they did?
Yes, they did.
They
raised that issue.
Were they open to alternative places for you to gather and picket that you also opposed?
No, they were not open to any of that. So
this was not entirely strange to you that the police would take this matter on, right?
Absolutely. We expected it.
Okay, so what's the way forward for you?
We are not demonstrating, we're picketing. We're just going to walk past randomly. We're not going to go and stand there and scream and get into a group or anything. No, we're just going to walk past, that's all. And anyone who has a placard will walk past with their placard. Nobody's going to stop there and be violent or scream or shout or misbehave. That is not going to happen.
So you will not comply with this prohibition order?
Well, their order is that we cannot demonstrate, and we are not demonstrating. We're going to picket.
Okay, so that's the fundamental difference.
We're not going to fight. We're not going to shout.
All right. So you draw a line between what picketing and demonstration is supposed to be, and you say that this does not apply to you at all because you are not intended to demonstrate. You're just picketing. And 21st is when you're supposed to do this. So we should expect picketing on the 21st at the said Liberation Square space that you're talking about.
I didn't hear your full sentence. I only heard...
Yes, I was asking that this was planned for the 21st. Should we still expect that to happen?
Yes. It will happen, but we are not going to demonstrate. We're just going to picket. We are very clear that we are not going to stand around there and demonstrate. We are walking past.
So where would you converge before you walk past that particular place?
It's an area where I walk past. Nobody's going to converge anywhere. We're just going to walk past. I've walked past that place many times. I dropped down from a truck there many times. There, they will see that we're not being...
Well, I still have a terrible line to her, so
violent.
Forgive me.
We're not doing anything nasty to anybody. We're not screaming. We're not shouting. We're just walking past.
Now, I get your point, and I'm grateful to you for your time this evening. I'm sorry that we couldn't have a very wonderful connection to you. Nadeswa is the convener of Fix the Country, the grouping that still said they're going to picket despite this prohibition order. Can they do that, lawyer?
Well, they set up themselves against the police on the terminology to use.
But is this semantics?
Well, because it's a legal matter, you don't sit here and pass judgment. Let them go back to the court.
What's your view on it?
Except that now that they are revealing it 3 days or so to the police can run back to court and say that any civil manifestation cannot happen at that place. But clearly, what they are saying is that they are not going to demonstrate. I have my own views, but I won't say them on the national TV of this nature. Clearly, I think that I will want to uphold, like in any democracy, their right to civil disobedience and also to draw attention to what they consider to be the atrocities being perpetrated against the environment, and to do it in a way that is not violent, that is not destructive, and that will draw attention of people in authority to what is happening to our lives, to the lives of our children and to our environment. And so whatever means, other than violent means or means that will bring destruction to other people's property, I will support it. Even if it means picketing at the gate of the Flagstaff House, I will support it. Because they put the people in the Flagstaff House in the first place.
This security zone conversation, is it not nebulous?
Yeah, that's what I've said. So the police have decided, because of that law, the police have decided to classify any time that it's in their interest to classify
whichever place they want as a security zone.
Yes. And so you see clearly it's clawing back that democratic right to, yeah. So that's, as a human rights lawyer, I think that clearly we need to do something about that and manifest the real intention of the Constitution and respect the rights of the people.
Should that be challenged at a higher court?
Well, the whole law ought to have been challenged.
Okay.
The whole law ought to have been challenged because clearly, maybe the only justification one can give for the law continue to be continuous presence on our statute books is that the police will always argue that they don't have the personnel and capacity to provide personnel to police demonstrators.
Or aid them.
Because that's the UN standard.
Okay.
You police them and make sure that they are not a threat to other passerbys.
And nobody's a threat to them too.
Okay. But the law doesn't say that you need to stop them from demonstrating. You have to allow them to demonstrate. I mean, international standard.
Yeah.
But because they always argue that they don't have the men, and because at this stage
but can that be an excuse?
At this stage of our...
It's an enjoyment of a right.
At this stage of our...
A right, some deem fundamental, freedom of expression.
At this stage of our development, they are having sympathetic hearing from the courts.
All right, let me ask you this related question, because all of this borders illegal mining. Do you think, and I do not want to hear because you have the tendency to speak as a politician, and it's got you into trouble sometimes. Do you think that politicians in Ghana have the interest or political will to truly fight illegal mining? We are in September with barely 3 months to an election, with all the things that we have been told today.
Some politicians do. Some politicians do grandstanding. Because illegal mining is a consequence of our inability to put in mechanisms to stop it, and also to provide leadership.
Okay.
So some politicians really know and appreciate the destruction to our environment and are prepared to do something to stop. And moreover, you need
when
to understand...
When you hear you were there before him a long time ago, when you hear the current occupant of the lands ministry say, we can't suspend, we can't even put a moratorium on small-scale mining because it will cost us a lot. When you hear the Minerals Commission also say the same thing, and all that they are suggesting is that, let's go through our usual processes. What signal does that send to you about our fight or purported fight against illegal mining?
They are not being very categorical. I think that I also hold the position that the first attempt of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to control the miners by banning small-scale mining and Galamsey is already an illegal activity, was a misstep.
Really?
Yes, it was. You see, what he did was he drove the activity underground. That's what he did. And that's why between 2017 and 2018, Ghana exported the highest amount of gold from the small-scale mining sector. Ask me how that came about.
But these were small-scale miners. They were not illegal miners.
But he banned them and drove them underground.
Of course, we banned small-scale mining too.
So, and drove them underground. And that's when the destruction actually manifested. That people went to sleep thinking that small-scale mining was not taking place.
So you support the call, or you don't support the call for the ban on small-scale mining today?
Legal small-scale mining.
Yeah.
Small-scale mining.
Yes.
Small-scale miners.
Yeah.
No, why would
it's a front? It's a conduit.
No. The people don't understand small-scale mining. Small-scale mining is different from Galamsey.
Yeah, but they say the difference is really not huge anyway.
It's huge.
Depending on the destruction that people in the name of small-scale mining are doing to the rivers and water.
So anybody who is doing destruction to the river bodies and the environment through illegal small-scale mining is mining contrary to his license. And that is, according to Act 703, that will be grounds for the termination of that license. There'll be grounds.
Okay.
So if you have a license to mine small scale and you're not mining in accordance with the license, don't mine in water bodies, don't pollute the water bodies. When you are digging, dig a certain way, and you don't do it that way. It's contrary to the license, and they contaminate the license. That is why you don't ban small scale mining, because they are already under the radar. The only thing is to build the capacity of the mine inspectors to go to the small-scale miners and ensure that they are doing the proper thing.
Okay. But, I mean, of course, there is also a grouping called illegal miners who just mine anywhere and they fall.
So illegal miners are illegal miners.
But the point they're saying is that these illegal miners are not just a couple of kids somewhere who do not have the powers. They are using machinery that sees small-scale mining.
What I'm saying is that illegal mining is illegal mining, whether they are using machinery or not. Whatever machinery they are using is illegal. Like you are saying Shafan. It's illegal. You can't mine in water bodies. No one need tell you that if you put a champagne on a water body, it's illegal.
What should government do now to show that they are committed to the fight against it?
Just key performance. I've said it severally on your network.
What? No, you said key performance what?
Key performance indicator. You have district chief executive.
Yeah.
But, you think that any district chief executive in Echuma, Mwabenya, can tell you honestly that he doesn't know that there's mining taking place in his district?
Of course, you will know.
You will know. And you will even know the people behind it. So why is he incapable of dealing with that? Do you think that any police commander at the place where mining takes place doesn't know those who are mining? You will believe that crap if they tell you they don't know.
I mean, it will be strange.
Or it will be strange. Or any BNI officer. No. The women must get serious in this country. So we just talk and talk and talk. But clearly, the way to stop small scale, in fact, they know the people who are mining. And if the government is prepared to deal with the people, the names will come up. In fact, Ashanti even said it before the minister.
I get you. But when you say key performance indicator, what do you mean?
If you are unable to stop it, government must be serious. If you are unable to stop small-scale mining in your district, we fire you. We fire you. Except that the president is now a lame duck. 3 months, what is he going to do? But a new president coming into office gives the performance indicator and gives direct authority to the district chief executive, to the police commander, to the BNI. Anybody who steps onto the land without a valid permit and mines, if you don't stop it and we get to know secondary evidence, you are fired.
What is really wrong, I mean, if you ask me, if I'm asking you this question, with the minister who is superintending the ministry, why is he still in office when there have been several calls from several groups for him to go?
Nana Akufo-Addo won't do anything.
If you were the minister, would you have resigned? You have been minister in that ministry before. If you were the minister, looking at the wanton destruction of our rivers and water bodies and forests, would you have resigned?
As a minister, I don't think it would have come to this. I don't think so. Because when I was engaged in the Galamsey fight, I not only met the MPs and the politicians, I also told them that I will arrest them. I told them. That's why you didn't see a name of any politician associated with my party coming up.
Did you?
And I also tell you one thing. When we were about deporting the Chinese, we were arrested, going on to the Chinese ambassador and many other people went to meet the president. He had given me authority. It was to clean up the small-scale mining sites. And so when they went and met him, they had discussions. He said, oh, go back and meet the minister.
He asked them to come back to you?
To come back to me. He said, go back to the minister.
Do you think the minister should go?
I think Nana Akufo-Addo should go.
Oh, but that's no, we can't remove, but we can.
I think Nana Akufo-Addo should, because he had put it.
Why are you refusing to support the calls for the removal of the minister?
Because, you see, this is a minister who said that Guntumi was mining in a forest reserve.
Yeah.
And then Nana Akufo-Addo counteracted him.
He said he was no longer mining there.
No, he said he was not mining there.
Honorable Idris Abseni, we should continue this conversation.
So it's Nana Akufo-Addo who should go.
We should continue this conversation in the future. But many thanks to you also for joining today's edition of UPfront. Our time has run out. And tomorrow, we have a very wonderful edition for you too.